Hi guys, sorry I didn't upload yesterday night. I hope you guys had a good Halloween. But I'm going to read Tales from the Crypt number 24. So this was published in June of 1951. This is going to go in the Tales of the Crypt playlist and the EC Comics playlist. So Tales from the Crypt, featuring the Crypt Keeper, the Old Witch, the Vault Keeper.
The Crypt of Terror. I see you got up enough nerve to buy Tales from the Crypt again. Well, I won't disappoint you. You'll get your fair share of shakes and shivers, believe me. Ready to begin? Good. Now lie back on the marble slab. Pull the sheet up over your head, and I'll tell you the first story. It's Harry Gordon's story, told in his own words. He calls it Bats in My Belfry.
I first found out that I was going deaf when I visited our family doctor. I had gone to him because of a painful earache. "I'm sorry, Harry. I know what this will do to your career. The symptoms are unmistakable. In a month or so, you will be stone deaf." "Are you sure, Doctor? Can't you do anything? Operate?" "No, nothing can be done for you. There is no operation." "I see. Well, thank you for everything, Doctor." I went home to my wife, Joan. I told her what the doctor had said.
You mean you won't be able to act anymore?"
"How could I? I'd miss my cues. My voice expression would be lost."
"There must be something they could do. Just go see specialists. Make sure."
"I will, dear. I will." But every doctor I went to told me the same story. It was useless. When I started to miss cues on stage. "Sorry, Harry. We'll have to get another star." "Huh? What did you say?" And then it came. The thick, heavy silence. I was stone deaf. I walked in a world of stillness. The traffic, the crowds, the orchestras in nightclubs. All silent. I had to learn to lip read to understand what Joan said to me.
"I said our money's practically gone. Understand? We're almost broke. Cleaned out."
"Yes, Joan. Things got worse. I tried to find work, but I couldn't do anything. Acting was all I knew. Then I thought of an old friend, John Bain. John and I played summer stock together. Then John had gone blind. I went to see him. Well, Harry Gordon. It's good to see you." Did you say my name, John? I'm deaf. I can't hear you. Did you say my name?"
"Of course. I recognized you immediately."
"You can see? Then why do you wear dark glasses?"
"To hide my eyes. These eyes."
"Good Lord!" John's eyes gleamed yellow in the dim light of his room. They were the eyes of a cat. What did you do to yourself? Your eyes!"
"Yes, they're cat's eyes. But who cares, Harry? I can see."
I had difficulty reading John's lips, but I managed to understand enough of what he said to get the whole story. "I found out about him through another ex-blind man. He's a genius. He operated on me, grafted these cat's eyes, and now I can see." "Do you think he can help me, John? Restore my hearing the same way?"
"Why don't you go see him?
I'll give you his address." The shop was in a dark and winding back street, in the shabbiest part of the city. There were stuffed animals in the dusty window. John said he wasn't a doctor, but this looks like a taxidermist shop. I went in. A little bell tinkled behind a curtained door at the rear of the shop. The odor of staleness and decay hung heavily on the air. He came from behind the curtain. He was tall and dark, sinister looking. You were recommended by a friend. You helped him to see again. I wondered if...
I see by the way you watch your lips that you are deaf. Come into the back. I will examine you.
The rear of the shop looked like an alchemist's nightmare. There were bottles and jars of various colored liquids and powders. But in the center of the room was a modern-looking operating table with up-to-date equipment. He examined me briefly.
Your auditory nerves are paralyzed. I will have to replace your whole hearing system with something different.
What do you have in mind?
I propose transferring the auditory system of a bat into your body.
A bat?
Yes. The bat's auditory system is unique. It is extrasensory. If the operation is a success, you will be able to hear better than you did before you lost your hearing.
I agreed to the operation. After all, what did I have to lose?
Breathe deep, Mr. Gordon.
When I came out of the anesthetic, I looked about. He was standing over me. He started to speak.
How do you feel?
My head! Don't talk! His voice slammed into my brain. It was harsh and loud.
You'll get used to it, Mr. Gordon.
I certainly hope so. Can you imagine the sensation? Have you ever turned a radio up full blast? That's what everything sounded like to me as I made my way home. When I opened the door, I heard Joan's voice. She was upstairs on the phone.
I think he just came in. I'll have to hang up now, darling. Goodbye, dearest. Yes, of course I love you.
I couldn't believe it. Hit Joan. And another man. I decided not to tell Joan about my good fortune, about my hearing being restored. I wanted to wait, to find out more. That night, I couldn't sleep. I got dressed and went for a walk. Funny, I have the strangest feeling, like I want to scream. I guess I walked all night. When I returned, Joan was gone. She had gotten a job since I had lost my hearing. I must have left early that morning. I feel so sleepy now. A heavy drowsiness came over me. I don't remember falling asleep, but when I awoke, what in blazes? I slipped to the floor. I was in a closet. I had fallen asleep hanging upside down from the clothes pole. What's happening to me? I staggered into the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. I needed a shave badly, but there was something else. Hair growing on my forehead, my nose, fine gray hairs. I was frightened. I shaved carefully, clearing my face of the growth. Then I stepped into the shower. As I raised my arm to soap under it. What the? A membrane! A membrane growing across my armpit! I dressed quickly and rushed to my friend John's house. John, who had first recommended the strange shop with its still strange proprietor. It was getting dark outside. I burst in his door without knocking. John! Get out! Quickly! His room was dimly lit. His feline eyes glowed with an eerie yellow light. He lay in a corner, white, picked clean bones about him. His face was covered with a silk black fur. Get away from me before it's too late. I'm an animal. What happened? Tell me, tell me. It's that horrible fiend. He's done something to me. These aren't cat's eyes he's given me. They're the eyes of a panther. I can't help myself. I have an incessant urge to kill. Lord, help us! John snapped on a light. Look at me. Look. I'm even beginning to look like a panther. Don't go to him, Harry. Don't. It's too late, John. It's too late. John snarled. His eyes burned. I got out. I began to walk. That explains my falling asleep, hanging out upside down in the closet. The gray hairs on my face. The membrane growing across my armpits. I'm turning into a bat! And that night, as I walked through the blackness, I began to utter short, shrill shrieks, and I listened for the shrieks to echo back. I was using the bat's radar-like device for traveling through the darkness. When dawn came, I made my way home.
Where have you been all night? Can you understand me? Why did you stay out all night?
I got a job, Joan. Night work.
Good. Then I'll quit mine. Today.
If you like, John. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. She went out, and I lay exhausted on the bed. Again, I don't remember falling asleep, but when I awoke, I was hanging upside down in the closet. I heard voices. Joan's voice, and a man's.
He carried a large insurance policy. $15,000. He took it out while he was acting and making good money.
Is it still in effect? I listened. From my lair in the closet. I listened.
Yes. The premium is due next month.
We'll be rich after we kill him.
I couldn't believe my ears. They were planning to murder me. I got down from the clothes pole and slowly opened the door. Got to get away! Got to get away from them! I rushed down the stairs and out the door before they could stop me.
It was Harry. He must have heard us. He'll go to the police.
I'll stop him, if I have to.
Joan's lover came after me. The sidewalks were dark and deserted. I ran, uttering little shrill, high-pitched shrieks. They warned me of fences, dead-end alleys, and blind streets.
Harry, it's no use. I'll get you.
As I ran, I looked down. Claws sprang from my fingers where nails had grown.
And when I do, Harry...
I passed my clawed hand over my face. It was hairy, and over my lower lip hung fangs! I've grown fangs!
When I get you, Harry, I'll kill you!
I stopped running. There was no need to run any longer. I knew what I had to do. Joan's lover came up to me, leering. Then, his eyes widened in horror. I sprang at him. No, no, keep away! He lay sprawled grotesquely on the cobblestones, white as chalk. 2 punctures trickled, claret on his neck. He was dead. I had drained his blood. I'm not just an ordinary bat. I'm a vampire bat. I fairly flew back through the streets to my house, back to Joan.
Did you get him, Harry? What's happened to you?
I killed him, Joan. I killed him, as you had planned to kill me. And now I must kill you, too.
No, Harry! No!
Her throat was white and soft, not like his, when I had finished. Now, I've got to go away and hide. I found a place, a nice, quiet place to hide. It's in this coffin, in this mausoleum. What did I do with the body that occupied it before I had came? Oh, I brought it to John, my friend. He made short work of it. The end.
Well, that's Harry's story, kiddies. Personally, I think he was a little batty, don't you? Oh, by the way, if you haven't already received my 5x7 picture, not a drawing, but an actual photographic reproduction, as I appear in the flesh, read my column, The Crypt Keeper's Corner, in this issue. And now I'll turn you over to that bag, the old witch. The witch's cauldron. Now that you have been duly bored by the Crypt Keeper's fairy tale, I'll tell you a horror story. Come closer and gaze into the bubbling contents of my cauldron. Gaze deep and soon you'll see the first scene of a chilling yarn I call The Living Death. Lester Jerome and Arnold Manning had been close friends all through the years at medical school. They had studied together and graduated together. They had even interned together at the same hospital. They had done everything together. And together, they had fallen in love with the same girl.
Come on, Laurie. Make up your mind. Lester or me?
Why not both of you?
Say, that's not a bad idea. We'll both take her to the movies, Arnold.
Yes. Lester and Arnold had begun their medical careers together. But soon, they began to drift apart. They began to differ on theories of medicine.
I say that the majority of illnesses are nothing but products of the mind. They are psychologically incurred. Bah! Lester, you're mad. An illness is an illness and should be treated as such.
And so, Lester Jerome and Arnold Manning came to a crossroad, and each went in a different direction. Lester took the path of psychosomatic medicine, the treatment of illnesses through the mind, while Arnold took the path of surgery, the treatment of illnesses by scalpel, needle, and pills. And Laurie, the girl they both loved, stood between them, trying to make up her mind.
Then, one day, Arnold Manning, the surgeon, received a phone call from Laurie. He went to see her. I don't know how to say this, Arnold, but, well, Lester has asked me to marry him, and I've accepted. I'm sorry.
Oh, I see. Well, I hope you'll both be very happy together.
Laurie and Lester became engaged. The months went by, and the wedding day drew nearer. About a week before the eventful day, Laurie became very sick. She was rushed to the hospital.
Here, Lester. Here are the x-rays. Look for yourself. She has a tumorous growth in her heart. An operation might save her life. Might, you say? What are her chances, Arnold? I can't tell, Lester. Maybe 1 chance in 10. It's a very delicate operation. Then I won't allow you to perform it. I'll save her through psychosomatic medicine. My way. I'm sure I can. Don't be a fool, Lester. Surgery is the only way. You can't stop a tumor through psychology. Yes, it's possible. By hypnotism. I'll arrest this growth. After all, growth is controlled by the brain. I'm in charge here, Dr. Jerome. There's no time for your psychosomatic hogwash. Laurie's life is at stake. But you admitted that she doesn't have much of a chance. Yes, but there's still that chance. I'm ordering the operation. I shall perform it myself. No, give me a try, please.
But Lester didn't get his chance. The hospital board voted him down, and Dr. Arnold Manning performed the operation. He did his best, but...
She died, Lester. Oh, Lord, no! I could have saved her! I could have saved her if you had given me the chance. You killed her, Manning. You and your surgery. I did all I could, Lester. No, you could have listened to me. But no, you're a surgeon. Operate, cut. That's all you know. Well, I'll show you, Dr. Manning. Someday, I'll convince you that I was right. Perhaps, Dr. Jerome. Perhaps. But I doubt it.
And so the years passed. Dr. Arnold Manning became a world-famous surgeon, while Dr. Lester Jerome remained an obscure psychosomatic physician.
Doc Jerome, I wouldn't go to him on a bet. He don't give you pills or nothing. Just hypnotizes you. Psychoanalyzes you.
The guy ought to be psychoanalyzed himself. He's nuts.
One day, while Dr. Arnold Manning was performing a routine operation.
Dr. Manning, what is it?
I can't see. Everything is blurred. Take over, Doctor.
Dr. Manning slumped to the floor, unconscious. His assistant took over while they carried Dr. Manning out of the operating room to a hospital bed.
Pupils dilated. No pain reaction. Get him to X-ray. At once. Doctor, you mean? Yes. It looks like a brain tumor. Give me X-ray. Immediately.
Several hours later, Dr. Manning regained consciousness. When he looked around...
You collapsed while operating, Doctor. How do you feel?
I have a severe headache. What's wrong with me?
Here, Dr. Manning. Look at these x-rays.
Cerebral tumor. Frontal lobe pressure. This man is... No.
Yes, Dr. Manning. Those are your x-rays.
But with a tumor like this, an immediate operation is imperative, or else...
Death in 2 months at the most, Dr. Manning.
And 1 chance in 10 that the operation will save my life. And I'm the only man that can successfully perform it.
That'd be some trick, dear reader? Yep. Arnold certainly was in a hopeless predicament.
Dr. Manning, what about Dr. Jerome? He claims that a tumor growth can be controlled by...
No, he's a mad quack. I'd rather...
Did you get him, dear reader? He'd rather die. Pretty stubborn, wasn't he? Well, he changed his mind. Dr. Manning thought it over real hard.
Well, well, the famous surgeon, Dr. Arnold Manning. And to what do I owe the extreme pleasure? I'm here professionally, Dr. Jerome.
Dr. Lester Jerome stepped aside, and the Dr. Arnold Manning entered the neat white office. Once inside, he explained to Dr. Jerome the reason for his visit. Dr. Lester Jerome listened quietly, and then, when Dr. Manning had finished, burst out laughing.
So, the skeptical Dr. Manning turns to psychosomatic medicine as a last resort, eh? Now you reluctantly agree to give me a chance, eh? Do not laugh, Lester. Why shouldn't I laugh? When Laurie stood between life and death, I was a quack, a charlatan. But now, when your life is at stake, you come running. Well, I cannot refuse you. In fact, it will give me great pleasure to prove that I am correct.
Lester led Arnold Manning into a dimly lit room. He seated him in a comfortable chair and trained a spotlight on his eyes.
What if I should die while under your hypnotic trance, Lester? You will not die, Arnold. I'll see to that.
Soon, Dr. Arnold Manning's eyes grew heavy. Under the spell of Dr. Lester's soft, soothing tones, Arnold fell into a deep, hypnotic sleep.
You will remain in this state until I utter the words Laurie. Then you will awake. Do you understand? I understand. And while you are in this hypnotic trance, Arnold, you will not die. Remember, you will not die. I will not die. Now open your eyes. You will speak and act normally while your subconscious mind remains hypnotized. You are free to go. Come back in 2 days. Thank you, Dr. Jerome.
Dr. Arnold Manning left Dr. Jerome's office and walked thoughtfully toward his home. As he crossed a busy intersection,
Look out! That car! Oh my God!
they pulled Arnold from beneath the car. The front wheels had passed over him. He was in a coma.
Somebody get an ambulance! Is he dead? If he ain't, he will be.
The wail of the ambulance sirens screamed through the city as Arnold Manning was rushed to the hospital.
It's Manning! Good Lord, he's been run over!
A hasty examination followed.
He's dead. His heart has stopped beating.
Wheel him into the hospital morgue.
Oh, what the? He moaned. But that's impossible. This man is dead. Look, doctor, his hand just twitched.
But his heart has stopped. How can a man be alive, moan, move, when his heart has stopped?
Other doctors were called in to witness the strange phenomena.
Oh, there it is again, a distinct moan.
But this is a corpse! Unbelievable! Incredible!
When Dr. Manning did not return to Dr. Jerome's office in 2 days, Lester inquired at the hospital and learned about the accident.
And although he is dead, he moves, groans, he does not decay.
Gentlemen, I can explain. Dr. Manning came to me. He asked me to cure a tumor by hypnotism. I put him in a trance and assured him that he would not die while in this hypnotic state. So, he cannot die until I release him, nor will he decay or take on any of death's characteristics.
Poppycock! Foolishness!
Ridiculous! Oh, you doubt me? Then you figure it out, gentlemen. Good day.
A month went by, then 2 months. Dr. Arnold Manning remained in the same condition. Then, one day, the hospital summoned Dr. Lester Jerome.
Yesterday, Dr. Manning regained consciousness. We x-rayed and found that his cerebral tumor has almost entirely disappeared. His heart still does not beat. He asked for you. He is in terrific pain.
Good. Take me to him.
Dr. Lester Jerome smiled at the writhing Arnold Manning.
Help me, Lester. The pain in my heart. Do something. They tell me that by all medical standards, I am dead.
Yes, Arnold. You've been dead for almost 3 months. I've kept you from decaying through hypnosis. Your tumor is gone, too. You see, I could have saved Lori. What the...
Dr. Lester Jerome had uttered the word Lori, the word that would release Arnold Manning from his hypnotic trance. As the gathered doctors watched, horrified, Arnold fell back limply on the bed. His skin shriveled and turned from pink to blue in a sickening brown. His eyes sunk deep into his head. Then they became hollow black sockets. The flesh, rotted and stinking, fell from his bones. Soon, the bed was covered with nothing but a seething, oozing mass of putrid and decayed flesh. So Arnold finally caught up with himself. What was left of himself, anyway? Well, how long can a dead man fight off decay, eh? It's bound to wear you down, sooner or later. Of course, with Arnold, it had to make up for lost time. Too bad Arnold didn't listen to Lester anyway. Maybe he wouldn't have made such a mess of himself. Bye now. I'll turn you over to the purveyor of fairy tales, the Vault Keeper. Oh, and by the way, if you want a photo of me in the flesh, read the Crypt Keeper's Corner.
Curse. He patted the gun holster at his side. It reassured him, and he pressed on through the matted undergrowth of the jungle. It couldn't be much further, he reflected. According to the map, the site was a mile east of the River of Doom. Imagine those idiots back in Port-au-Prince, he chuckled, as he hacked his way forward. Isn't it just like these Haitians, falling for every voodoo story they hear? They're positive that a fortune in jewels is hidden in this crumbling dump, yet no one has the guts to trek through the jungle after it, just because there's supposed to be a deadly curse on the house where the stuff is hidden. He patted the heavy revolver at his side once again. His gun would take care of any curse careless enough to try to keep him from getting his hands on that treasure. Let the Haitians beware of the curse they dreaded. The gun at his hip made him safe from this outlandish voodoo superstition. The clearing opened with unexpected suddenness in front of him, and under the dripping centuries-old trees, he saw the dilapidated house that it described to him. It was ghostly, with that vapor seeming to rise from its sides, he thought, moving cautiously toward the sagging front door and into the dank building. He froze in his tracks immediately. Someone was seated in a chair in the center of the floor, staring off into the murkiness of the room, quietly taking great pains not to make a sound. He drew the revolver from its holster, took aim and fired at point-blank range. 3 shots rang out, and he smiled grimly as he moved toward the crumbling cabinets along one of the walls. He wasn't considered a dead shot for nothing. He hadn't expected to find anybody sitting here and guarding that fortune and jewels, but he had taken care of whoever it was anyway. The curse be damned. The cabinets were full of sparkling jewels. There was a king's ransom tucked away in this hovel, his for the taking. Suddenly, the floor creaked behind him, and he whirled, his hand gripping the revolver, the chair in which he had left his victim. It was empty, and by the glittering light of the gems, he could see that there was no pool of blood where there should have been one. His head moved slightly as he slipped the safety catch on his revolver, and he saw approaching, slowly, ominously, as if there was all eternity to accomplish its task, a being with the bloodless look of something long dead. Twice he fired the gun, almost convulsively, and still the creature kept advancing, never wavering, never altering its funeral pace. In the next instant, the truth burst in upon him in a wave of panic. This curse he had heard whispered about at Port-au-Prince. It was one of the walking dead. That was why no one would accompany him on his trek. They knew that bullets were pathetically useless against one of the dreaded creatures. And now the curse was reaching out and touching him, and a chill such as he had never felt before was moving down his body. It was all over, he knew, in his last moment of consciousness. He had been claimed, body and soul, by a zombie. The Vault of Horror. Hello again, you little monsters. I guess you've been expectantly waiting for this latest tale from my private collection of horror stories. Well, I won't disappoint you. This time I'll tell you a truly revolting yarn. So get a strong hold on your stomach. I call it Midnight Snack. Scene: the home of Duncan Reynolds. Time: midnight.
Bong, 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 bong. Midnight. Urgh. These horror stories certainly give a person goose pimples. Ought to go to bed. Feel tired. But maybe I better have a snack first. Didn't realize I was so hungry. Hey, what the? How the devil did I get here? Last thing I remember, Oh, what's the difference? I want to be here. Something tells me I should be here. Boy, I'm so hungry. My stomach hurts. I better get some food.
Duncan surveys the deserted street, and on the corner he sees
a restaurant. I'm in luck. I hope it's still open for business. Ah, it is open.
Yes, sir. What'll it be?
Let's see, I'll have, Ugh. What a sickening odor. Sizzling hamburgers. That bacon frying. I'm so hungry. So hungry, and yet the smell of food cooking makes me ill.
Well, mister, what'll it be?
Can't understand it. That cooked meat is making me nauseous.
Poor Duncan. He wants so much to eat something, only he doesn't know what it is that he wants. Anyway, he stumbles out into the street and spends several minutes there, regaining his composure.
Everything seems so cockeyed tonight. I ought to go home, but something won't let me. I can't control myself. Gah! Just the thought of that cooked food sickens me. Ugh. Never happened to me before. Last time I'll ever go into that restaurant. Gee, I feel dizzy. Awfully dizzy. Feel like I'm gonna pass out.
Blackness clouds his eyes and mind. He feels himself floating in a whirlwind void. And then, suddenly, it is over.
What the? A cemetery? How did I get here? Where's the restaurant? And the shovel? How did I get this shovel?
Against his will, he enters the cemetery and goes from one grave to another.
What am I doing? What am I looking for? Have I gone crazy? Wait, this grave, a recent one. Now I know why I have this shovel. because I have to dig up this grave. This brand new grave.
Bewildered and driven by a fury he cannot resist, Duncan again and again digs deeper into the earth. Finally, the coffin's bared, the lid raised.
Ah, here it is. Here's what I've been searching for all evening.
Suddenly, a spark of realization seeps into his consciousness. A realization of what he is about to do.
Good Lord! I must be insane wanting to... No, don't let me do it! Oh, please, don't make me do it! But I have to. Something's forcing me to. Oh, I feel dizzy again.
Again, the empty, terrifying blackness surrounds him, and when he regains consciousness...
What? Must have passed out again. I feel so strange. Good Lord! The corpse! What have I done?
He stares, horrified at the mutilated, partially devoured body before him.
I tried not to do it. I tried, but the craving was too strong.
What's that noise? People! A crowd of people with torches. They're after me. Coming this way. They want to take away my food, but I won't let them. I'll run away with it. They see me. Have to run faster. I'll hide my food. Mustn't let them catch me.
Tiring under the corpse's weight as he dodges and weaves through the graveyard, Duncan suddenly trips and falls. An eternity seems to pass, but finally his arm quivers. His eyes flicker and open.
Why, I'm back home. Where's the graveyard? The corpse. Oh, I get it now. Huh. I've been here all the time. Must have fallen asleep. I've only been dreaming. Whoosh. What a nightmare that was. Dreaming I was a ghoul. Ugh. How fantastic. Last time I'll ever read horror stories before going to bed. Say, it's late. Must have dozed for several hours. Ho hum. Guess I'll fix some coffee and hit the sack. How did I think about that dream? I had to laugh. Never thought horror tales would affect... Say, what the... That's strange. Why, what are all the shelves and food from the refrigerator doing on the table? I don't remember putting them there.
Perplexed, Duncan opens the refrigerator door, and out tumbles a partially eaten corpse. Stunned by his discovery, he stares at the gruesome sight, and suddenly he realizes...
This corpse! It's the one in my dream! Holy now, I know it! It wasn't a dream! It was true! I actually did what I thought I had dreamed! I'm a ghoul!
The end. The moral of this tale is, he who eats and runs away will live to eat another day. Ha! Isn't that silly? Who ever heard of eating a day? Duncan certainly wouldn't. It's too bad he tripped and fell in the cemetery. But that's what happens to you when you carry around too much dead weight. And now, I'll turn you back to my fellow ghouls. fool lunatic. The Crypt Keeper.
It was a diabolical plot. Ralph was sure Cora would be scared to death. Cora clutched her shawl tightly around her throat and stared horrified into the darkness of the hallway outside her room. Ralph, her husband, grasped the arm of her wheelchair, studying her.
He's coming, Cora. Your uncle's coming for us.
No, Ralph, I won't believe it.
Cora's face was wet with perspiration. Her hand trembled. The knuckles whitened as she drew her shawl protectively about her. Ralph smiled slightly as he watched her reaction. It was going to work. It had to.
Listen, Cora. Listen. His footsteps. On the stairs. He's coming to avenge his murder.
Stop it, Ralph. Stop it.
Tears filled Cora's eyes. They spilled over the rim of her eyelids and ran crazily down her cheeks. She began to sob, heaving sobs that racked her body and shifted her wheelchair.
Remember, Cora? Remember the night we killed him?
Cora gasped. Ralph chuckled to himself. Poor Cora. One more heart attack will surely kill her. The doctor had told Ralph.
Remember, Cora, we did it? For his money?
Please, Ralph. Please, don't.
As Ralph watched Cora, his thoughts went back over the long months to the beginning. It had started at a cocktail party given by her uncle in Cora's honor.
Really, Frank, I feel terrible about this. Coming to a party without an invitation.
Forget it, Ralph. Cora's uncle didn't know you were visiting me.
Yes, but...
Here it comes now.
Ah, Frank. Glad you came. Who's your friend?
Oh, this is Ralph Kearns. He's from New York. I took the liberty of bringing him along to your niece's party. Hope you don't mind.
Nonsense. How do you do, Ralph? I'm Cora's uncle, Alex Weatherby. Glad to have you.
Ralph smiled to himself as he watched Cora squirm in her wheelchair. Yes, that was when he had first met her.
Hey, Frank, who's the pretty one?
That's your hostess, Cora Weatherby. She gets all this when the old geezer croaks. Sole heir.
Sole heir. All of Alex Weatherby's wealth would be Cora's someday. Suddenly, it had come to Ralph. The whole plan.
Well, Frank, you're some pal. Aren't you going to introduce me?
Oh, yeah. Sure, Ralph. Come on. Cora?
There was a noise below. Cora jumped, gasping for breath. Ralph eyed her, her chalk-white skin, her wrinkled forehead. She wasn't pretty, not anymore. Not as she had been when he had first asked.
Will you marry me, Cora? I know we've only known each other for a short time, yet...
Oh, Ralph? Do you really want me?
Again, Ralph laughed silently. Cora, always the pushover. Like now, cringing, shaking. The silly fool. He had wanted her uncle's money, not her.
Then, you'll say yes?
Of course, darling. Of course I'll marry you.
Not that Cora had been so bad to look at back then. Yet to Ralph, experienced, worldly, suave, the money had seemed so much more attractive.
Oh, Cora.
Ralph, I'm so happy.
The wind outside Cora's bedroom whistled through the trees. Another noise, another gasp. Ralph watched her closely. She was breathing heavier now, painfully.
What was that, Cora? Another footstep on the stairs.
No, I won't. It can't be.
And then the wedding. Ralph especially remembered the wedding. How he had slipped the ring on her finger, saying the words, but thinking.
With this ring, I thee wed. You and your inheritance.
Ah, the honeymoon. The cruise to Europe. On the old man's money.
What a beautiful moon tonight. Love me, darling.
With all my heart, Cora.
And then those rotten months at the plant, working like any other laborer in the old man's plant.
Got to start at the bottom, son. Someday this plant will be Cora's, and you'll have to run it.
Of course, Uncle Alex. I understand. I want to learn.
Wanted it. Ralph had hated it. Hated everything about it. And then it had come to him. The perfect solution.
Of course. What a fool I've been. Why wait till the old geezer dies? Why not help him?
Yes. The next few months had been tough on Ralph. He had to be on his toes. Convincing Cora wasn't easy.
And then, in front of the men, he insulted me. Called me incompetent. A numbskull.
Oh, Ralph, darling. I'm so sorry. I'll speak to him.
It had taken patience and ingenuity.
No, Cora. I'll fight my own battles.
I can't understand his actions. I really can't.
He had to use careful timing, psychology.
Called me a gold digger. Accused me of marrying you for your inheritance.
No, the hateful old...
Yes. And then he said that he'd cut you out of his will. He accused you of the same thing. That all you cared about was his money.
Let him. He's nothing but a bitter, crotchety old skinflint.
A pushover. That's what Cora had always been. At first, she had violently objected. But soon, she had reluctantly agreed.
Why not? It's your money, rightfully. He's old. He's lived his life. It'll be easy.
All right. We'll kill him.
And so, one night, as old Uncle Alex Weatherby had been strolling near the pond on his vast estate, they had put him unconscious, face down in the pond.
It'll look like he fell, struck his head, and drowned.
Oh, Ralph, I'm afraid.
Later that night, they had called the police.
Yes, he went out about 3 hours ago, and hasn't come back.
The police had come, had searched the grounds, and found him.
Poor old gink. Slipped and fell, I guess.
Well, let's get him inside.
Yes, they'd gotten away with it. Cora inherited the money, but something had happened to her. Perhaps it was her conscience bothering her. Anyway, she began to brood, lose weight, age rapidly.
Cora, you've been looking terrible lately. You've got to forget about it, do you hear?
I can't, Ralph. I can't.
She had grown nervous, frightened. She'd jump at every sound. Then she'd had her heart attack.
She's a sick woman, Ralph. Another attack will surely kill her. She must take it very easy. I understand, Doctor.
And so the idea had come to Ralph. With Cora dead, the Weatherby fortune would be his. All of it. And Cora would be a pushover.
Good Lord!
What? What is it, Ralph?
I thought I saw his face. Uncle Alex's face. Staring at us. Through the window.
No, you're joking with me.
The wind slammed a shutter downstairs, and Ralph snapped out of his reverie. Cora, still trembling, was staring into the darkened hallway.
What was that? Another footstep?
No, I...
Ralph smiled. This night, the wind, everything had been
I should have been an actor.
He thought. Any moment now. Any moment her pounding heart would fail.
He's coming, Cora. Don't you hear him?
Yes, I...
Suddenly her eyes seemed to pop out of her head. Ralph waited.
This is it, sure.
He thought. She heaved a final retching gasp and doubled up.
Cora!
Ralph bent over her. She was dead.
Poor Cora. Poor Cora.
Suddenly, there was a sound in the darkened hallway.
What was that?
It came through the door. It was bent over, like an old man.
Alex.
The stench of grave mold filled the room.
Keep away! Keep away from me!
The thing reached out its rotted arms for Ralph, moving toward him.
No! No!
The clothing hung in shreds from its maggot-covered limbs. Ralph clawed at its face, and pieces of dead, foul-smelling flesh came off in his hands.
Oh, Lord, help me!
It lifted him in a vice-like grip and carried him down the stairs. The odor of decay burned Ralph's nostrils as he struggled for air.
Let me go!
The thing was strong. It held him fast. It stumbled out across the well-kept lawns and down the glade to the pond. Ralph began to scream.
No! No!
It stepped into the pond, wading out to the middle. The pond bottom was soft out there, like quicksand. Ralph's screaming was wild, almost animal life. The thing stood rigid, there in the center of the pond, clutching the struggling Ralph. Slowly, they began to sink, deeper and deeper into the soft mud.
Yeah, no!
Down, down until only Ralph's upstretched hand remained above the surface. And then, even that disappeared into the mud. The end.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be appreciated. If you have any requests you want me to do, just let me know in the comments, and I'll tell you when I can do the request. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.